Drake Maye and the Patriots, I don't know how much better they're going to sell what they have to sell, because a lot of people question the season all year long, and that performance there did not impress anyone.
Yeah, it was a tough night at the office for Drake Maye. Right now, offensively, through the first three quarters, when you could say that the game was still kind of in reach,
because it was.
The Patriots had 78 yards of offense on 39 plays. They were outgained as a team 271 to 75, because you factor in like sacks and stuff like that. Seattle had 15 first downs, they had 5 first downs, and they were 2 of 11 on third down. It was all really bad for them. And then in total, Drake Maye kind of lit it up there in the fourth quarter in garbage time, even despite the pick six that he threw.
He was doing a little stat Pafford.
Was pressured 19 times, tied for the third most in his career, threw 10 off-target passes, career high, sacked 6 times, tied for a career high, committed 3 turnovers, which was also a career high. So naturally, in a game like this, hour one we talked about, everyone's back on the Sam Darnold train except for Rob Parker. He got the monkey off his back, got a Super Bowl. On the flip side, for New England and Drake Maye, it's, well, damn, that guy did not belong. Like Sean King said, anywhere near the top of the MVP conversation. We're all off on Drake Maye and the Patriots. They had a soft schedule coming in. They had a soft playoff run. He did what he had to do
during the season. I'm not going to say
But what I'm saying is the narrative, just like it flipped for Sam Darnold, has completely flipped for Drake Maye and these Patriots.
And I think that's bogus. We talked about it, and I agree. The schedule was easy. One of the things leading up to the Super Bowl, as we talked about it in San Francisco, I mentioned it. I said Drake may have been sacked 15 times. The offense was scoring only about 10 points a game. And I said, this is going to be a tough game for them going into the Super Bowl. But one of the things, I wouldn't jump off the ship if I was Dre in the Commonwealth. And folks who maybe are Patriots fans or folks who obviously watch the game.
He better call in
where's Dre?
today.
Yeah, the Commonwealth. Thanks for taking my call. Here's the thing I'll say, though. You and I sit up here all season. One of the things that were consistent was we knew how great that Texans defense was, right? That's a Super Bowl caliber defense. We knew how great the Broncos defense was. Number 1 in sacks. They were getting after it all year. And we also knew the number 1 defense, statistically at least, was the Seahawks. So I'm looking at this as the Patriots. You finally got your just due at the end. What I mean by that is you had to run up to back 3 of the top 3 defenses in the entire NFL, and you had to play against them. Now, you were fortunate. Your defense is really good as well, and you got after C.J. Stroud. He gave you a bunch of turnovers like a bakery, as you like to say. And then the Broncos, you play Stidham instead of Bo Nix. And then finally, you got into a complete team in the Seahawks with their quarterback, the running back. Everybody's, healthy and ready to roll, and you got beat down. Point is, I think they saw we took advantage of a soft schedule. Drake Maye can sling that thing and can run. And a couple other things. I don't like the way Josh McDaniels handled the game. Second half, you go on that thing, all right, we're down, what was it, 12-0? All right, we're still in this thing. Adjustments. There was no plays. There was no RPOs. There was no, we're going to let him get out there and run, so they kind of back up a little bit or have to spy on him a little bit more or something. There was no adjustments. We talked about it with Sean King. No quick strikes. No, we're going to just throw a slant to Diggs or the booty and get it in their hands and let them cook. It was drop back, which was not working. There was no moving tight ends to block that left side that has 2 rookies on the offensive line. Point being, I think there's a lot to learn from this team. I think there's a lot to be had. I think they can see where their shortcomings are. They're the youngest team in the NFL. So I would say there's still some optimism for me if I would be the Patriots saying, all of these things considered, we had a really good season, and we ran up against a historic gauntlet of the Texans, Broncos, Seahawks, defensively, and that was a tall task that I don't think pretty much any team could get through all 3 of those unscathed and actually win all 3 of those, Rob.
Well, I get that, but I think, as Sean King even mentioned, when you talk about the NFL, you could think you have something going and next year you're going to get – this was a golden opportunity, and that's how they got in. They snuck in. People questioned them all year. They kept winning. Things lined up for them. They did just enough to win. What was the playoff? What did they beat the Bills? 10-7, right? I mean, like
the Broncos.
Broncos, 10-7. You know what I mean? Like they did just enough to get it done. And now you got to. There's going to be a reevaluation on the Patriots. Are they automatically going to be the team to beat in the AFC next year? I don't think so. I think there's 5 or 6 teams I would pick ahead of them next year, and there's work to be done, including from Drake Maye.
That was a little. I don't know about the 5 or 6. I give you 2 or 3.
There's a few teams. Dude, any team that Baltimore Lamar's on,
There's
I'm
one.
serious.
I'd say that's one. You know, I'm with you on that.
Then you could also talk about the Bills. You could talk about a revamped Chiefs. Like
You
to
ain't
be in the
gonna talk
mix.
about 'em.
No, I'm not.
You almost threw up in your mouth saying that.
But I'm just saying, like, there's 3 right there. And if I were to look a little bit harder, like even when you look at the Broncos with that defense, and remember their quarterback played well all year, and he didn't get to play in the game.
Dude, that
so
was
I'm
the
not
weirdest
I'm not,
broken ankle ever. Like,
but I'm not going to throw out Denver because.
No, you shouldn't. That's what I'm saying. It's about 3. I mean, they could feel like we could beat those teams. I'm with you though. I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So next year will be interesting to just see how it plays out. But it was a missed opportunity, and sometimes you can sneak in, get one, but they didn't do it. And
are you out on Drake Maye specifically?
No, I'm not out on him. I mean, 35 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He had a good year. You can say whatever you want. No, I'm saying
Very good year. Running the ball too.
And again, Stafford. More people did not vote for Stafford. I mean that you can look at the MVP thing. He lost by 1 first place vote, right? But Stafford, 26 people did not vote for Stafford because of course there was 2 for Josh Allen and 1 for Justin Herbert. You know what I mean? But when you add those, it's unbelievable that 26.
I understand his offensive line was going through, but let's settle down.
Yeah.
Because you know how many people should get an MVP vote for that if that's having the blah 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 happen. Then does Brock Purdy get one for all his a couple years back?
You can't do that.
Does this person get that because of this? Like, does that person? Every year you could go, well, this person did this because they were missing that. But I think if you're Drake Maye, you're sick, you're upset. But as I've been saying the whole postseason run, he didn't play great. I told you 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He sacks 21 times. I mean, they're played against some very good defenses. So he had to learn. He had to go through those growing pains. I think, again, he had the bad draw in the sense of playing these great defensive teams. Now, the good draw, that it was the C.J. Stroud quarterback led. It was Stidham and so on and so forth. But, man, you went through a gauntlet of defensive teams, and I think that played a major role. So I would be more optimistic saying, hey, let's come back next year. Let's go get one more weapon or 2 on the offensive end. Defense, keep playing like you're playing. And, again, they were the youngest team in the NFL. They got a lot to show as they move forward. All right, Rob, so they're watching us right now, which means another thing they can do is what?
They can subscribe. All you got to do is hit that button, subscribe to The Odd Couple for some of the best sports talk content in the nation.
Facts, and while you're at it, they can like, they can comment, they can share. Do all that for us. We appreciate it. Just do all that right up in here.